Hello and welcome, members and guests of the University Prep community. I have to say this is my third UPrep graduation, and this is the happiest I've ever felt at a graduation. Just seeing all the teachers walk down the aisle just really warmed my heart, and having everyone in the same room is fantastic. I'm Jennifer Zell, and I'm the president of the UPrep Board of Trustees. It's my privilege to welcome you back to this beautiful venue for the first time in 3 years. The last time I was here, my oldest child was graduating the class of 2019, and we were blissfully unaware of what was to come in the next several years. Although I do not need or want to remind everyone of the trials of the past 2+ school years, I do want to congratulate everyone to making it to this point with patience, understanding, and most importantly, partnership with the school. It has not been an easy road, but we made it, and there's much to be celebrated tonight. I also briefly want to recognize and appreciate the creativity of the school as it improvised for the last 2 graduation ceremonies when this venue was not an option. For those who are not aware, 2 years ago, the class of 2020 graduated at a speedway up north with families in their cars and a great deal of horn honking as graduates were celebrated. I would have to say, probably one of the more memorable graduations I have ever seen. Last year, the class of 2021 was honored in a ceremony outdoors at the Woodland Park Zoo. Fortunately, it was a beautiful evening, and I would venture to guess that anyone who was there will not easily forget the sounds of the lions grunting loudly in the background as speeches were given and diplomas were handed out. It was a perfect setting, but I know the Seattle weather makes planning an outdoor graduation less than ideal. So here we are, back in McCall Hall, where we can once again gather together without concern for the weather, and where we can welcome all family members and friends to join in the celebration of the class of 2022. Thank you all for being here tonight, and I'm honored to be among the first to say congratulations to this special class of graduates. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I wish the best for you in your future endeavors, and hope that you will stay connected to UPrep as you go on to do great things. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ronnie Codrington-Cazot, UPrep's head of school.
Thank you, Jen. First, I want to offer huge congratulations to our graduates. You should be extremely proud that you're sitting here today. And I want to give a huge welcome and thank you to all the parents and guardians out there for supporting, pushing, and guiding these young people, and for always being there to catch them if they fell. Class of 2022, when you started high school, under the leadership of Matt Levinson and Ken Jaffe, I am sure you were full of enthusiasm for the 4 years that lay ahead of you. Little did you know that just 1 year later, you'd be working with an interim head of school. Then about 3/4 of the way through your sophomore year, you would be attending school online, away from your friends. And when you finally returned to school, you had a new head of school and a new upper division head, and school was a very different version of the place you recollected from your freshman year. I am grateful for your resilience, your patience, your trust in your teachers, your care for each other, and your love for the school. Your willingness to confront that which you see as unjust respectfully. Your ability to listen to others whose views differ from your own. Your ability to stand up for your political passions, and your willingness to give and take advice. So, as you head off into uncharted waters, I hope you will take what you have learned and put these practices into good use in the world around us. In the words of one of my favorite poets, Maya Angelou, I encourage you to live with life. Be courageous, adventurous. Give us a tomorrow more than we deserve. Do not leave here and be complacent. Be different. Test boundaries. Question authority. And speak up for what you know is right. Class of 2022, I will miss your strong desire to bring UPrep traditions back for our younger students, even if you were working with the head of school who brought no water to Fun Day. Your teachers will miss your leadership and positive energy. Do well, be good, shine out there, and make us proud. And now, let's get on with it. It is my pleasure to introduce seniors Eleanor Bernard and Sharon Sarmiento Morales.
Our next speaker, one of my favorite people ever, graduated from Stanford University where he studied geological and environmental sciences in 1991, the School of the Art Institute of Chicago where he studied studio art in 1999, and received his master in teaching from Western Washington University in 2005.
He just finished his 18th year teaching at UPrep, starting in the science department in 2004. 2 years later, he transitioned to the art department, and has since become a beloved art teacher, one who uplifts his students and encourages them to be who they are.
As our class says goodbye to his art classes, we will miss embarking on new projects, picking an old record to play in class, and listening to his kind and thoughtful bits of advice.
Please welcome Ty Talbot.
My daughter, who is sitting up there, always asks, Papa, did you get teary? You know, she always thinks that I cry really easily. And so, yes, Nora, that made me a little teary. Good evening, and welcome to colleagues, families, friends, and especially you all, the members of the class of 2022. I consider myself, let's see, hold on a second. This is an older version. I'm gonna pull out. I always come prepared. So, and Matthew Sage, who just got his Eagle Scout yesterday, knows what it means to be prepared. So, it's truly an honor to be speaking to you today and celebrating. I honestly feel that it's time for straight, white, cisgendered, male-identifying people like me to do more listening than speaking. And as your teacher, I always hope to hear your voices more than you heard me. Today is a celebration of your voice, so thank you for entrusting me to be up here with you today. I consider myself to be quintessentially Generation X. And if you're a member of my generation, your pop stars included an uncommon number of middle-aged guys named Huey and Phil and Bruce. You may have regularly eaten Frosted Flakes for dinner. Your parents still seemed exhausted from the 1960s, and you grew up under the specter of the Cold War and trickle-down economics. I was not much of a reader as a kid, but I fondly remember the series known as Choose Your Own Adventure. Yeah, thank you. In these books, the reader assumed the role of the protagonist and made choices to determine the main character's actions and the plot's outcome. You'd get to a point in the book where it would tell you, pick up an axe and turn to page 48, or turn to page 76 if you wish to sell your gold doubloons. The story would proceed from there and follow a different path. Every commencement speech follows roughly the same path, or at least includes the same basic elements. A greeting, check. Something funny, a story that imparts some wisdom, some advice for the graduates, and a final benediction. For today, I will need your assistance as I have structured my address as a choose your own adventure. If I call on you, graduates, make sure to pay attention. You'll have 2 or 3 options from which to choose, and my speech will follow your choice. There will be 3 of these moments, which means that mathematically I could give any combination of 18 different speeches today. All right, after the greeting, the second element of a commencement speech is something funny. During the long sessions of Zoom school, I would often read from a book called Daily Dose of Dad Jokes. And after a while, that's really all my students wanted to hear. Unmuted, they would ask, "Can we have a dad joke?" Okay, so is Decker Moe out there? Okay. Decker, your awesome mom, the legendary Rebecca Moe, could have been the commencement speaker today. But she lovingly spared you and stayed on the bench. So the first choice is yours, Decker. Do you want a knock-knock joke, a mom joke, or an animal joke? Okay, knock-knock joke. This is fun. Everybody gets to participate. Knock-knock. This is awesome. Broken pencil. Never mind, it's pointless. The appropriate reaction to a dad joke is to go, ugh. All right, so here's what I want to tell you. As a graduate of University Prep, you take with you an incredible privilege, and to paraphrase Spider-Man, with that privilege comes responsibility. For each of you, that responsibility will take a different form. You'll choose different careers, different experiences, different means by which you live. But in the heart of all your choices, I implore you to consistently commit to making the world a kinder place. As your teacher, that was always at the heart of what I wanted you to get out of my classes, especially as the world seemed particularly unkind during your 4 years of high school. If you really think about what all of us, staff, faculty, coaches, your peers, all of us tried to teach you at UPrep, whether it was through uncomfortable conversations in LEAD, projects about race discrimination in physics, finding something new at Culture Night, performing on stage, celebrating Pride, or participating in a no-cut athletics program, all of that was done with the intention of showing you a kinder path towards empathy, connection, and community. If you missed that, I hope you'd someday realize it soon. Okay, next choice. This focuses on a story that imparts some wisdom. For this one, I'm going to call on Gabrielle Petrie. Gabrielle, you out there? Okay, there you are. Okay. In my experience, Gabby should have her picture in the dictionary next to the words kindness, dependability, and maturity. Okay, Gabby, you ready? Here are your choices. You can learn about my junior year in high school or things I learned from prison. Number 2, okay. All right, things I learned from prison. I need to go back to my other speech for this one. I really was like adding things literally at 3:20 a.m. and so here, there's some additions. I think that gratitude shows a path towards optimism. And for me, at least, gratitude is also a way to show kindness to yourself and ultimately to others as well. In the summer of 2016, I volunteered to teach art in an art class at the Monroe Correctional Complex, which is the large prison that's now closed but is about an hour outside of Seattle. My students had been convicted of everything from vehicular homicide and kidnapping to armed robbery and murder. Nearly all of them were sentenced when they were about your age, and nearly all their cases were connected to poverty, mental health, and addiction. I designed what I thought would be a great class focused on creativity and drawing, but about 10 minutes into the first night, I realized that I did not design a good class. I chose very poorly. I remember there was a member of the class who had a large swastika tattoo on his hand, and he was clearly frustrated with my ignorant approach, and he started grumbling, "I don't know what we're doing. There's nothing creative in prison." It was the longest 2 hours of my teaching career. Before they left for the night, though, I at least had the wherewithal to ask them what they wanted the class to be. And the next day, I rewrote the whole curriculum. After that, and for nearly every Monday over the next 3 years, I would leave my beautiful UPrep classroom and drive out to one of the most dismal places I've ever been. I'd hand over my phone and my keys and my wallet. I'd walk through 5 security doors and land in their classroom. And from there, I asked questions, I listened, I helped out where I could. I didn't ask the men about their convictions, but I listened to their stories, and many were painful beyond comprehension. Occasionally, I noted my student's swastika tattoo, and I realized that it was old, that it had started to fade over the years. I chose to meet those men for who they were in the art room on those nights, not who they were in the years before. And every week they were there, they were choosing to make something creative, something beautiful, and they were trying to remake themselves. At the end of those Monday nights, I'd walk back out through the 5 security doors, and I would take a deep breath of cool, free Northwest air. I'd get in my car, and I'd inhale a lungful of gratitude for all that I have. My family, my friends, my job at UPrep, my then 13-year-old Prius, my health, my freedom, and my experiences with those men at Monroe. Walking out of those prison doors, all 5 of them, I scarcely felt more alive, and I was so grateful for how lucky I was and how my choices turned out. The first time that internationally famous Beatle John Lennon met the avant-garde artist Yoko Ono, he was attending a show of her work at a London gallery, and as he meandered around the space, he found his way to this ladder in the middle of the gallery, and he started to climb. He was a little nervous to do it, but when he got to the top, he found a magnifying glass hanging from the ceiling, and looking through it in tiny letters, he read the single word, yes. He was a really cynical young man, but he always referred to it as a transformational moment, one that would change his life forever. The choice of taking that first step on that ladder on a long journey towards hope and liberation from pain. And from that one moment, a legendary love affair was born, along with a worldwide movement for peace. Enormous consequences start from singular moments. A global pandemic can start with one person being bitten by a wild animal. A social movement can start with the tragic and senseless shooting of a young man in Missouri. A lone woman with handcuffs on painfully too tight can yell to bystanders outside the Stonewall Inn, "Why don't you guys do something?" And then they do. Your lives are made up of an endless amount of single moments, of choices large and small, and I encourage you to choose to filter those moments through kindness and compassion, as those moments can change everything. Okay, a final key feature of a commencement address is a litany of advice, sometimes in bullet point form. And for this choice, I'm going to ask Catherine Van, who I think if Catherine was my daughter's older sibling, it would make my job as a parent even easier than it already is. So Catherine, are you out there? All right, Catherine, your choices are old dude advice, what's next, or things I learned from people named Bruce. Option 3, okay. I think that Bruce is a funny name, and I don't know if anybody names their kid Bruce anymore. Is anyone out here named Bruce? Do we have a single Bruce in the audience? See what I mean? Yeah, no Bruces. All right. Well, anyway, here are some advice from my favorite Bruces that I've learned from. First up is Seattle legend, martial artist, teacher, actor, director, screenwriter, producer, philosopher, Bruce Lee. Who famously said to be like water. He said, if you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. It can flow or it can crash. And from this, I suggest you be open to the world and its possibilities, and don't be afraid to adapt. Okay, Dux, this one is for you. For you Gen X metalheads out there, Iron Maiden's leather-lunged lead singer, 747 pilot, novelist, fencer, and brewmaster, Bruce Dickinson once said, "Life is too short to do the things you don't love doing." That to me sounds a little too metal, maybe, but I would just say to try to love what you do as much as possible. Okay, my favorite Bruce is the Springsteen variety, an icon to both boomers and Xers. And from this Bruce, I learned that being honest about feeling broken and vulnerable ultimately makes you stronger, that masculinity can be loving and anti-toxic, and that there's no sin in being glad that you're alive. And finally, from the baby boomer comedian Lenny Bruce, there are never enough I love yous. Every choice means that you've left others on the table. the college you didn't go to, the job you didn't take, the parts of this speech that I didn't read. The countless, these were not plants in the audience, by the way. They didn't know this was happening. And countless choices you weren't even aware that you made. When it comes down to it, you don't really get to choose your own adventure. As my brilliant buddy Andy says, all you can choose is how you deal with the mess that life throws at you. And sometimes you duck when you should have jumped. But I assure you that if you consider kindness in even the smallest choices, including and especially kindness to yourself, you'll be all right. With that, I congratulate you all. You have completed your classes in Zoom and in person. I challenge you to choose to climb that ladder. You are not muted anymore. Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you very, very much. Please join me in welcoming our 12th grade dean, Kira McGraw.
All right, good evening. Wow, this podium is taller than I am, so you might be able to see my forehead. Good evening, class of 2022. Before I begin, I want to, first of all, thank the McSmith Advisory as being one of the best advisories that I have been a member of. But I also want to thank the 12th grade team, your advisors, for always advocating on your behalf, for always caring and cheering you on over the last 4 years. Thank you. One reason I left university teaching to teach UPrep was the opportunity to make more meaningful, long-term connections with students. And when the opportunity arose to become dean of this class, I jumped at it. It was compelling to connect with and follow you as you grew, explored new identities, and found your people. Ty just offered you inspiring advice for your future, so I had to think about what I could share and offer you. And I have two things: my takeaway from being the dean of your class and what I have learned about you, and I hope some of it will serve you. Over the last couple of years, I've realized that transparency is necessary for my own mental health. I've spoken recently about this with some of you in class, and I want to extend this to all of you. Being your dean has been one of the most rewarding positions I've had in my many years at education, and yet it was not always easy. You might think I'm saying this because my experience with you students could be challenging at times, and that is true, but that's not what I mean. My biggest obstacle was myself. No matter how enthusiastic I was, no matter how good my intentions were, I often felt awkward. I felt like I may not be doing a good job or simply not doing enough. I hope to get to know every one of you better as the years went on, but I was not fully able to accomplish that goal. In some ways, I felt I failed. In all honesty, I often suffered from imposter syndrome. And when I thought I may have had a handle on things, we started a new year with new challenges, new interesting and unique puzzles to tease apart and figure out, pandemic included. Now, I'm not sharing this with you for sympathy, but rather to be transparent. It is important for us to try and be strong and persevere in the face of challenges, and it is just as important for us to let others know when things have been hard, when we have struggled, when we have needed help and support. I promise you that this will always be true. When we are honest with ourselves and others about our struggles, our empathy grows, as do our connections. We find out that we are not alone. We are more able to pivot, adapt, adjust, and learn from these experiences, and I most certainly have. And despite those feelings of self-doubt, I would not change this experience with you for the world. I will continue actually to learn from it and from you and apply the feedback that I have received from you to the next class as their dean. And I also hope you can and have learned from me. Transparency and vulnerability are not a sign of weakness. Ask for help when you need it, and know that perfection and control is an illusion that doesn't help any of us. This experience of being out of my comfort zone and getting to grow with you has enriched my life more than you can possibly know, so I want to thank you too. And that brings me to my second point. Milk guzzling competitions and fire bans aside, if you know, you know, let me conclude by summarizing the class of 2022 with what I do know of you and what I will genuinely miss. And this may sound familiar to some of you if you read the yearbook completely from start to finish, but here it goes. What words could possibly encompass and capture this distinctive, quirky, and definitely unrepeatable class of 2022? Perhaps by the things that you all do. You are activists, actors, and artists. You are builders, dancers, movie makers, musicians, magicians, and writers. You are curlers, fencers, hikers, rowers, runners, and skaters. You are ultimate soccer, volleyball, baseball, basketball, and tennis players. You are trampoline jumpers. You are mental health advocates, educators, learners, and volunteers. You are bakers, debaters, and robot machine makers. You are leaders and unafraid to lean upon others. Or rather, should you be described by who you are? Most delightfully, the class of 2022 is perfectly imperfect. At times on time, and at other times, not so much. Sometimes you are challenging. Sometimes you make mistakes. Most times you work to make amends when needed. Always, you are wonderfully willing to question and to listen, to grow and to speak up, to be gracious and to be forgiving. You are kind, you are funny, you are smart and vivacious. Impressively, in the face of unprecedented challenges, you are beyond strong and resilient. And without a doubt, you will work to make our world a better place. And you impress us and you make us proud. I can't wait to hear from you and to learn about all of your successes and your struggles. It's not always going to be easy, but you have the tools and the support here at UPrep to make it work. So for one last time from me to you, please be kind to yourselves and definitely be kind to others. With gratitude, your class dean. Thank you. And now the fun part. Joel Sohn and Meg Anderson-Johnson for the presentation of your diplomas.
A volunteer at Duwamish Valley Cleanup Coalition and Swedish Hospital with 350 service hours under her belt, this graduate also founded a tutoring service for disadvantaged Somali youth. She enjoyed spending time in the diversity office and hopes future Pumas will find this a welcoming space as well. Attending Pomona College with plans to become the first psychiatrist in her community, our first graduate is Jamila Abdullahi. Our next graduate has loved his 7 years at University Prep. He is proud of how he's grown as a student, of captaining the varsity tennis team, and of winning his last match in sudden death. He remembers every grade camping trip, and we're sure that his classmates will remember his humor and kindness. Attending the University of San Diego with plans to major in architecture or marine biology, our next graduate is Dane Bandow. She has over 250 hours of community service, with many of those hours volunteering at the Rainier Valley Food Bank on the weekends, Amigos de las Americas, and Global Visionaries during the summer. Some of her favorite moments at UPrep have come from her experience with Global Link American South and taking organic chemistry. Attending Pitzer College in the fall with plans to begin a pre-med track, our next graduate is Demi Bandow. This graduate will fondly remember many fun moments and the strong community at UPrep. He served on the Associated Student Body for 3 years and stepped up this year to lead as an ASB executive, all while enjoying varsity ultimate and varsity soccer. Some of his favorite classes were statistics, current events, and environmental ethics, a class for which he recently was recognized with a Sustainability Award. He is grateful for the close friendships he's developed over the last 4 years, attending Bowdoin College in the fall. Theodore Barton. Our next graduate spent countless hours on the ice, leading his curling team to multiple national appearances and teaching hundreds of adults how to curl. He gave countless high fives to middle schoolers as the Puma mascot, all while excelling academically. He helped found UPrep's robotics team, ran the booth for assemblies, and was recently recognized with the Julia Calhoun Community Service Award. Next year, he will be pursuing his interest in transportation systems, studying civil engineering at McGill University in Montreal. Our next graduate is Andrew Bell. He has been passionate about cars from Camaros to Jeeps for all of high school. He made fond memories with friends during his senior year and will continue these shenanigans as he moves through life. A talented artist, he is also proud to have finished his senior year with a successful journey through Calculus 2. Pursuing a major in mechanical engineering this fall at Gonzaga University, our next graduate is Ethan Bensusan. She was a leader of the Jewish Culture Appreciation Club and spent her freshman year working as a docent at the Bellevue Art Museum. She remembers her poetry, creative nonfiction writing, and visual art classes as her favorites. One of her fondest memories is the time she spent at the Oxbow School in the summer of 2020. Studying fine arts in the fall at Boston University, our next graduate is Eleanor Bernard. This graduate spent the last 4 years teaching Hebrew school, being a camp counselor, and serving on the Holocaust Center's student board. Last year, he also published a paper analyzing early COVID vaccine distribution. He enjoyed playing tennis for 4 years and was on the varsity league champion team his junior year and served as co-captain his senior year. Some of his favorite moments at UPrep were lunches off campus with his friends. Attending Washington University in St. Louis this fall with plans to major in finance, our next graduate is Harrison Bloom. He has fond memories of playing 4 years of both varsity basketball and varsity soccer in his Puma colors in front of enthusiastic crowds of supportive peers. His most memorable game was a 3-0 soccer playoff victory over Seattle Academy in his sophomore year. During the height of the COVID pandemic, he continued his service to others by delivering food to at-risk community members on behalf of his local food bank. In his academic life, he is proud of his National Honor Society membership and the improvement he has shown in his academic work since 9th grade. With plans to study business at Wake Forest, our next graduate is Alex Bonci.
This graduate is proud to have participated in every musical performance, both on stage and behind the scenes during her time at UPrep. Outside of theater, she was a co-leader of the Jewish Culture Appreciation Club and has been on the student leadership board of the Holocaust Center for Humanity for the last 4 years. She credits her Russian history course with Karen Natorp Anderson and her 7th grade Washington State history course with Damon Bauer for sparking her desire to pursue history as her major in college. Attending George Washington University in the fall, Miranda Brown. Over the course of her 7 years at UPrep, this graduate led our 2-time district champion mock trial team and won medals for solo and synchronized figure skating at the regional and sectional levels. From bungee jumping to figure skating with a blindfold, she isn't afraid to look fear right in the eyes. Next year, with plans to major in global and public health sciences at Cornell University, our next graduate is Sarah Bunker. She has played for the varsity basketball team since freshman year and recently received the First Team Season Conference Award. This summer, she will be playing in the 2022 All-State Basketball Games. She was a member of the National Honor Society, co-founded a student-led podcast focused on social justice, and was a leader of UPrep's Black Student Union. One of her favorite experiences at UPrep was the Global Link American South trip, where she traveled to Atlanta, Georgia. Attending Emory University at the Atlanta campus this fall, our next graduate is Paris Buren. He has traveled to 12 countries and counting. He is proud of all of his academic achievements and personal accomplishments here at UPrep, and is especially proud of his achievements in mathematics. He recently completed his Launchpad experience with the Northwest Energy Efficiency Council, and is excited to combine his passion for traveling with his hopes to help find a solution for the planet's environmental issues. Studying science at University College Dublin in the fall, Kieran Burke. This musician starred in the jazz band as a clarinetist, guitarist, and is the self-proclaimed best drummer the school has ever seen. As an athlete, he helped lead UPrep to its first ever baseball state championship and usher in an era of excellence. On the ultimate frisbee field, he was named JV MVP his freshman year. As a student, he sought out challenging courses while participating in the community fully, even winning the coveted and prestigious Puma of the Week award at the end of his senior year. A proud Prius driver who looks forward to attending Occidental College next year, our next graduate is Nathan Crawford. Our next graduate was a 3-year varsity soccer player and coached the UPrep Middle School D3 soccer team to an undefeated season. He was also an editor-in-chief of this year's yearbook. One of his favorite memories from his time at UPrep was producing a rap song during his electronic music intensive. With plans to attend Boston College and major in biology next fall, our next graduate is Kellen Davis. He has rowed for more than 5 years and has trained and competed in Spain, Chile, Canada, Bulgaria, across the United States, and hopefully this year in Italy. He won gold at the 2021 World Rowing Junior Championships in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, representing the United States. One of his favorite memories at UPrep was going on the 8th grade camping trip and biking with his classmates. Attending Harvard University next fall, our next graduate is Jordan Dykema. What can I say about this graduate that hasn't been said 1,000 times before? Our outgoing Associated Student Body Vice President has spent the last 4 years making movies, strengthening the UPrep community, and goofing around with his best friends. Attending Emerson College to study film, our next graduate is Cade Everett. Good luck to you. Our next graduate leaves home at 8:20 every morning in a rapid dash to make it to school on time. Did you? No. He played UPrep tennis for 3 years and in his free time enjoyed coding, playing the piano, and being extremely mediocre at other racket sports. At the beginning of 10th grade, he hurriedly filed an ad drop request after realizing he had just joined a middle school music class. After graduating UPrep, he will attend Worcester Polytechnic Institute in Massachusetts, where he will study computer science and rely on wall heaters for survival. Congratulations, Rowan Faulkner. Our next graduate's love of technology and tinkering has led him to build everything from computers to drones. Whether taking photographs or creating surreal images on the computer, he relishes bringing his unique visions to life. He will be attending the University of Washington's College of Engineering next year, where he will be able to combine his passion for designing and building with his interests in technology and cars. Our next graduate is Lincoln Ferguson.
This graduate played baseball all 4 years at UPrep, was on the team that won the state championship during his freshman year and helped the team win the league championship his junior year. His favorite memory was the weekend trip to Yakima for the baseball state tournament and championship. This multi-sport athlete also played ultimate frisbee for 3 years, including 2 on the varsity team. Attending Gonzaga University, our next graduate is Sean Freed. She has been a student leader for the Latina Student Union and helped with extensive planning for the community events. Outside of UPrep, she participated in a summer internship with Rabo Lab at the University of Washington while balancing her time working at a local retirement home. She enjoyed taking classes with Tammy Howe, who helped make math interesting and fun, attending the University of Washington Honors College in the fall with plans to major in biology on the pre-med track. Our next graduate is Maylin Gazga. Our next graduate's favorite memory of UPrep was taking marimba band intensive. In her time at UPrep, one of her greatest accomplishments was helping lead the Jewish Culture Appreciation Club throughout the pandemic. One thing she will miss most about UPrep is her Chinese class family. This fall, she is looking forward to her gap year, where she will be enrolling in nail technician school and attending a spring semester program in China. Joining Colorado College's class of 2027 with hopes to study ecology, our next graduate is Anna Glasser. She has been a 3-year member of the varsity track and field and cross-country teams and a 2-year National Honor Society officer. She has over 100 volunteer hours and is the president of the Sierra Club and leader and co-founder of the Bob Ross Painting Club. Her favorite high school memory was cheering on our teams at sports games. Pursuing public health next year at Boston College, our next graduate is Sydney Gleason. Some of this graduate's favorite memories of her time at UPrep include attending the Student Diversity Leadership Conference, participating in workshops and affinity groups during Social Justice Day, and simply hanging out in the diversity office. Though her Global Link trip was canceled due to the pandemic, she toughed it out and learned to play the marimba at home. She mastered power tools and stagecraft and was the stage manager of the show The Bully Plays, and was a co-leader of the Black Student Union and LEAD. Outside of school, she both volunteered and worked at the Pacific Science Center. With plans to study psychology and statistics at Syracuse University next year, our next graduate is Hermona Hadouche. Hermona. She played on the volleyball team for 4 years and is a proud member of the UPrep Marimba Band. When she was not editing drafts for the newspaper or planning lead conversations, she enjoyed spending time with the multiracial affinity group. She also enjoyed organizing with Washington Youth for Climate Justice and learned to navigate virtual organizing during COVID. Her favorite memory was going to Philadelphia for the National High School Journalism Convention, where she won first place for a story she wrote about cheesesteaks. Attending Barnard College of Columbia University this fall, our next graduate is Parisa Harvey. Our next Puma joined UPrep her freshman year. She played basketball for 3 years and is the co-president of the Muslim Student Association and co-chair for the Black Student Union. Some of her favorite memories were attending the 2021 Student Diversity Leadership Conference and interning at the Department of Biological Structure at the University of Washington. She also is proud to finish upper school with over 300 community service hours. Attending the University of Washington Honors College in the fall, our next graduate is Muna Hassan. This Puma embodies inclusive leadership. She has captained the soccer, basketball, and track teams, copy-edited our newspaper, and is our outgoing Associated Student Body president. She has fond memories of volunteering with the Special Olympics and Friendship Circle of Washington and participating in the White Aspiring Allies Student Affinity Group. One of her favorite experiences, though, was joining the marimba band for her senior year intensive. Attending Dartmouth College in the fall, our next graduate is Abby Hedstrom. Our next graduate has loved being part of the Latina Student Union, the Associated Student Body, and LEAD. Some of her favorite moments have been co-leading the Sugar Skull decorating activity for Dia de los Muertos this past fall and the vocal music class she took this year. She is also proud of her academic success in challenging math classes. Outside of school, she volunteered for One America, where she took on various roles, such as working the phone bank, speaking as a guest on a radio show, and speaking at a May Day rally. In the athletic arena, she was co-captain of the track team in her senior year. With plans to major in criminal justice at George Washington University, our next graduate is Adriana Hernandez Jimenez.
see you all. Okay. This next graduate's time at UPrep is something he will always look back on and feel good about, whether it be playing his senior season on the varsity basketball team and making a run in the playoffs, or coming back to school after COVID and making memories eating at the farm table during lunch with everyone. With plans to become a hometown hero and further his education at the University of Washington's College of Arts and Sciences, our next graduate is Foster Hicks. His most memorable moments at UPrep come from traveling with the cross-country teams during his 9th and 10th grade years to participate in the state meet. He also played varsity basketball and soccer in his senior year after overcoming an injury-riddled junior year. He challenged himself academically in numerous subjects. However, he is most proud of his improvement as a writer. Outside of school, he volunteered for the Special Olympics and did other community service outdoors in parks and at farms. Next fall, he will attend Chapman University, where he hopes to continue his study of mathematics. Our next graduate is Owen Howland. Our next graduate rowed for 4 years and worked to help increase accessibility and diversity in rowing. Some of her favorite memories at UPrep were listening to the Sam Sanders segment, Favorite Moment of the Last Week, on his podcast, It's Been a Minute, with her advisory and Miss Ingle, as well as the bus getting stuck at a mock trial competition. She will spend her first semester abroad in Berlin and then attend Northeastern University with plans to major in economics. Our next graduate is Shreya Iyer. Our next graduate played varsity soccer for 3 years, varsity basketball for 2 years, and attended the state cross-country championships his senior year, where he ran a personal best. He also worked the booth for in-person assemblies and live stream events. He will miss competing with his friends to see who could get to soccer practice the fastest, and he will not miss early morning basketball practice or doing physics homework. With plans to study engineering at the University of Washington, our next graduate is Harry Jackson. This graduate has shown continued dedication to music through the jazz program. He has enjoyed furthering his bass skills since the 6th grade. This pursuit of excellence was recognized with the Woody Herman Jazz Award. He has also been inspired by various STEM programs, from computer science to quantitative physics to calculus 2. He participated in track and field, specializing in the 100 and the 4x100 meter sprints, as well as long jump. Soon to be attending Loyola University New Orleans, where he will continue to play jazz, our next graduate is Makari Jackson. Our next student joined UPrep in 10th grade and became a member of the Advanced Jazz Ensemble. They also have spent 6 years as a member of the Seattle Girls Choir and spent their summers volunteering at Girls Rock Math or working at Camp Self. One of their favorite memories is traveling to New Orleans with the jazz band. Attending Harvey Mudd in the fall and majoring in the biological sciences, our next graduate is Eleanor Karras-Sconiers. Our next graduate has attended University Prep since the 6th grade. He played varsity soccer both freshman and senior year and was the jazz ensemble saxophonist in 9th grade. His advisors will remember the kindness and positivity he brings to every group he interacts with. His favorite UPrep memories include the 8th grade camping trip and the end of year fun days. Attending Occidental College in the fall with plans to major in either marine biology or economics, our next graduate is Kabir Kashyap. Our next graduate is the one with the red hair. A four-year varsity tennis player who qualified for state twice, some of his favorite memories have been playing on the tennis court with his fellow Pumas, hanging out in Ty's advisory, and spending a wonderful summer at Fred Hutch. He is a member of the National Honor Society and the French Honor Society. Attending Johns Hopkins University in the fall with plans to major in biology, our next graduate is Matthias Keonui. She has attended University Prep since 6th grade, is a member of the National Honor Society and French Honor Society, and led the Sierra Club in her senior year. She gained over 100 hours of service while volunteering for Ronald McDonald House and Hamlin Robinson School. One of her favorite memories was taking the painting intensive 3 times. She will attend the University of Virginia in the fall to major in economics. Unable to join us tonight, our next graduate is Stella Levine. When our next graduate reflects on his high school years, he can say with confidence that his work ethic and focus improved each year. For his community service work, he spent time with the Washington Trails Association. He played soccer for the Pumas as a 9th grader, and he has really enjoyed his return to the team in his senior year. In the fine arts, he has fond memories of his time spent in the scene shop where he helped build all the sets and props for the Bully plays this spring. With plans to major in physics and engineering at Santa Clara University, our next graduate is Jonah Lewis.
Our next graduate has taken jazz every single semester during his upper school experience and traveled to New Orleans for an intensive. He spent his time at UPrep learning and honing his jazz craft and improvisation skills, and he hopes to continue doing so at the University of Rochester this fall. You may know him for his fantastic hair or his equally astonishing beard. Please welcome Oliver Litton. The next graduate has been at UPrep since 8th grade. While his academic record is something to behold, he is most proud of earning an A on both podcasts he created with Decker Moe. Outside of the classroom, his resume is even better. As a JVC basketball starter, he averaged 0.2 points per game, following it up with an undefeated D3 soccer coaching season and becoming a varsity soccer captain his senior year. With plans to attend Northwestern University, our next graduate is Phineas Malum. Our next graduate played varsity baseball all 4 years of high school and helped the team achieve a state title during his freshman year and a 3rd place finish his senior year. He was also a captain of the baseball team and was a stellar varsity basketball player. One of his favorite moments was eating lunch at the long table with his friends. Attending Santa Clara University in the fall with plans to major in business, our next graduate is Yoshikazu Milady. She has been a part of the UPrep community since 6th grade. She has spent numerous hours volunteering for the Humane Society and Rainier Valley Food Bank and working as a student ambassador for admissions. Her favorite memories at UPrep were her lifetime intensive with James Johnson and trying to find a place to eat lunch inside during COVID. Going to the University of Washington to pursue informatics next fall, our next graduate is Ira Manjipudi. She arrived at the start of junior year mid-pandemic. She did attend 10th grade homecoming at UPrep, even though she wasn't a UPrep student yet. As a senior, she has a gaggle of sophomores that she now drives around town. She hopes they will not cause too much trouble after she graduates and is no longer available to offer them her moral support. She is attending Washington University in St. Louis to major in neuroscience, psychology, and philosophy. Our next graduate is Catherine March. This graduate has dedicated their time to community service. They have been a Girl Scout since 3rd grade and a Sustainability Ambassador since 6th grade. They earned their Girl Scout Gold Award project in their senior year and was recently awarded the Silver Puma. Some of their favorite memories come from bonding with their friends during the school camping trips. With plans to major in political science at the University of Washington in the fall, our next graduate is Chris McCarty. He has been compiling a list of the films he has seen, including all 25 James Bond movies since the 7th grade. He started the school's James Bond Club when he joined UPrep 7 years ago, and is also a rower and a pianist. His favorite UPrep memory is of traveling with the jazz band to New Orleans. Headed to Tufts University next year and joining their rowing team, our next graduate is Peter McCormick. She was part of the National Honor Society and was a National Merit Commended Scholar. During sophomore and junior year, she participated in the Washington Aerospace Scholars Program. Outside of school, she took ballet classes at Dance Fremont and worked as a writer and editor for the Teen Tix newsroom. Her community service engagement include being part of the Youth Grant Making Board in 2020, the Rainier Valley Food Bank, and other organizations. Attending University of Toronto this coming fall, our next graduate is Lucia McLaren. Our next graduate attended an international boarding school for 9th and 10th grade. In the summers, she works in Alaska doing commercial fishing. She has played 2 years of varsity volleyball and coached middle school ultimate frisbee. Some of her favorite memories at UPrep were the 8th grade Science Olympiad and online entrepreneurship intensive. She will attend UCLA in the fall with plans to pursue human biology with a pre-med track and an entrepreneurship minor. Unable to join us tonight, our next graduate is Katrina Minshakina.
Our next graduate has participated in mock trial all 4 years of high school and helped the team achieve 2 district championships junior and senior year. She also played club volleyball for 5 years and participated in track and field her senior year. One of her favorite memories has been going to advisory check-in. Attending Pitzer College in the fall with plans to major in environmental science and business, our next graduate is Eleanor Mobley. Our next graduate has been a part of the UPrep community for many years. His favorite memories from his time at UPrep involved the Global Link Santa Fe trip, the JV soccer season, and playing 4 years of Ultimate. He also helped the soccer team get to the state championships this year with his amazing goaltending. Attending Western Washington University in the fall, our next graduate is Decker Moe. This graduate particularly enjoyed the photography classes he took during his time at University Prep. On the academic side of things, he is proud to be graduating from University Prep, and he feels like that says just about everything about his academic career. He played the oboe for 3 years, then piano for 2. He's especially thankful to his grandfather for making his whole UPrep experience possible, and to his parents for supporting him through and through. After a gap year, he will attend Evergreen State College. Our next graduate is Trevor Moulton. Our next graduate has attended UPrep since the 6th grade. Throughout high school, he has enjoyed playing tennis with his friends and playing the clarinet in the varsity jazz band. His favorite memory from UPrep was the jazz band trip to New Orleans during his sophomore year. This National Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, and National Merit Commended student will be attending Boston University next fall. Our next graduate is Jack Nielsen. She played varsity basketball for 1 season and had several lead roles in our 2022 spring play. During her freshman year, she achieved her black belt in Aikido and was the league discus champion for our varsity track program. She took her academics seriously, perhaps too seriously, always going above and beyond by regularly meeting with teachers. She will be the second in her family to attend Colorado College. With plans to major in business economics with a minor in computer science, our next graduate is Joanna Oster. He has attended University Prep since 6th grade. He was in the jazz band freshman year and has played soccer all 4 years of upper school. His favorite memory of high school was the junior varsity soccer season. This year, he helped the soccer team reach the state championships. Attending University of Washington in the fall with plans to major in environmental science, our next graduate is Ben Pepe. She is especially proud of her community service work as a peer health educator for the Teen Council of Planned Parenthood, and she has served on the Joshua Center Youth Advisory Board at the University of Washington. She was a presenter at the Prevent Child Abuse America National Conference and was a member of the Community Ethics and Culture Council at University Prep. She's also proud of how well she adapted to online school, particularly her ability to stay intrinsically motivated for all her classes and the college process. She played volleyball for all 4 of her years of upper school and will cherish learning the marimba and performing at UPrep together this year. Attending Tulane University in the fall, our next graduate is Tessa Peterson. Her high school experience was a blur due to COVID-19. However, her favorite moments included meeting Hannah Walsh at the 6th grade ice cream social, where there was mysteriously no ice cream, attending the Student Diversity Leadership Conference in December of 2019, and being a part of UPrep's Black Student Union. She will not miss the great parking lot debates at UPrep. Her advice to future student drivers, if you're here, is to get to school early when there is an abundance of available parking. Attending Santa Clara University with hopes to study political science and enroll in law school, our next graduate is Gabrielle Ann Petrie. Our next graduate has been a student at UPrep since 6th grade and an ASB rep since 7th grade. She has been on varsity volleyball since 9th grade and was captain her senior year. She is also the last of her 3 siblings to proudly graduate from UPrep. Heading to Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, our next graduate is Carly Reagan. One of her most memorable moments at UPrep was co-founding the Global Action and Advocacy Club and marching on Olympia for immigration rights with her friends. She also enjoyed attending the School for Ethics and Global Leadership in Washington, D.C. her junior year. Attending Tufts University in the fall to major in international relations, our next graduate is Ananya Rendaria.
Our next graduate has been at UPrep for 7 years. His favorite part of his UPrep experience was his final year in math. During his time as a Puma, he was heavily involved in fencing, during which he qualified for the Junior Olympics 3 years in a row and placed 40th in the nation for under 20-year-olds. He enjoyed his time at UPrep and plans on attending Willamette University in the fall to study political science and data science. Our next graduate is Xander Rasmussen. Our next graduate completed 5 years' worth of math classes over his 4 years of high school. In the athletic arena, he ran track and cross country for 4 years, and he was named captain of both teams during his senior year. Outside of the math department, he enjoyed his Photo 1 and Photo 2 classes and would say he can, in a pinch, take a decent photo. Outside of school, he devoted his community service hours to the Washington Trails Association. He will most fondly remember the time spent with friends. Attending Colorado University Boulder next fall, our next graduate is Nicholas Rosenthal. This graduate has been at UPrep for 7 years. He has been on varsity baseball for all 4 years, been a starter for 3 years, and has been a captain for the past 2 years. During his freshman year, he helped the team win University Prep's first baseball state championship. His most meaningful experience has been leading conversations around sexual assault and consent for our students. He also enjoyed working at sports games and coaching 6th graders in basketball. Attending University of Colorado Boulder in the fall, our next graduate is Harrison Rothman. This graduate is an Eagle Scout from his Boy Scout Troop 186. He has worked tirelessly as the photo editor and writer for the Puma Press for the last 2 years and has taken numerous photography classes at UPrep. He's also taken extra math classes in order to take quantitative physics and calculus too. After his first sophomore track season was cut short by COVID, he returned to the track with a broken arm for his senior season. Attending Tufts University next fall with absolutely no idea what to study, our next graduate is Matthew Sage. Our next graduate has felt blessed to have traveled to 15 different countries. He also started UPrep's speech and debate team and is proud of coaching a youth flag football team which won the championship for Western Washington. One of his favorite UPrep memories was the first debate practice. Attending the University of Michigan with plans of pursuing a dual degree in sports management and either computer science or economics, our next graduate is Raj Saluja. Generous, insightful, and original, our next graduate is an accomplished visual artist who embraces creative risk-taking. Her finger firmly on the pulse of the latest manga, fashion trend, or musical artist, she's equally prepared to offer on-the-spot sushi, ramen, or boba tea recommendations. Persistent in pursuing her unique vision, she is also an accomplished creative writer and an amateur skater. Headed to beauty school in the fall, our next graduate is Sharon Sarmiento Morales. This graduate is the person you want on your team, not only for her athleticism, she played varsity soccer, basketball, and ultimate all 4 years, but also for her positivity, school spirit, and kindness. She was recently named Conference MVP and earned Athlete of the Year and the Mark Cullen Commitment to Athletic Award at the senior banquet. A leader of multiple clubs, she will always remember being teammates with her older sister for 3 seasons. In search of some sun, she will be attending the University of San Diego in the fall. Our next graduate is Jane Scroggs. This next graduate is a member of the National Honor Society and a National Merit Commended Scholar. He has rowed for 4 years and played cello for 8 years. One of his favorite memories from high school was making friends during the 9th grade camping trip. Attending Rochester Institute of Technology in the fall with plans to study chemical engineering, our next graduate is Alexander Selby. Our next graduate has traveled to 5 continents and hopes to travel to the others. One of her most memorable moments at UPrep is co-founding the Global Action Club and hosting Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal at UPrep. She also believes she has likely not gone a single month without getting a late slip in her 7 years at UPrep. Attending University of Washington in the fall with plans to major in biology, our next graduate is Anika Shashidar. She has been in yearbook since freshman year and is co-editor of the yearbook this year. For the last 3 years, she has been the leader of the Tailgate Club, cheering on our student athletes at every game. Outside of school, she participates in dance. She will always remember her Chinese classes and the great pontifications of Scott Collins. Attending the University of California, Davis in the fall with plans to major in cognitive science, our next graduate is Grace Silverman.
This graduate had volunteered 100 hours at the University of Washington Medical Center before COVID hit and prevented her from entering the facility. COVID also impacted her ability to continue volunteering weekly at the Seattle Latvian Center, where she tutored little kids in Latvian language and culture. At UPrep, she played varsity tennis for 3 years until senior year when she decided to get a job as a pharmacy technician instead. Thankfully, COVID didn't prevent her from working. She is also proud of the fact that she never had to take the SAT or the ACT. Attending Whitman College with plans to study biology, our next graduate is Darta Saipola. This graduate is proud of the fact that she survived Dr. Narasim Han's quant physics class and her 10th grade English class. She participated in mock trial for all 4 years and recently won a Best Attorney Award. She also spent 5 years of rowing at the Pocock Rowing Club, where she competed with the lightweight 8 at the Nationals her freshman year. Her most memorable moment at UPrep was when her Global Link Nepal flight was canceled due to a missile threat. Her group ended up spending the intensive building a weather station for Snoqualmie Pass, which ultimately would not function. With plans to spend the next 4 years at Vanderbilt University majoring in environmental science, our next graduate is Allie Sneesick. He came to UPrep from Hong Kong in 9th grade and participated in mock trial and ethics bowl for all 4 years. He placed 5th at the U.S. Trampoline National Competition in 2021 and has qualified to return to nationals in 2022. A drummer for the UPrep Jazz Band for 4 years, he also led the UPrep Mental Health Advisory Board for 3 years. His favorite memory is when Senora AJ, that's me, made the entire Spanish class get laid slips after they all decided to accompany a classmate who was getting something from her car. Attending University of Southern California to study sociology, our next graduate is Emerson Sonoda. You're welcome. Yeah. This next graduate has been at University Prep since 6th grade and experienced all that UPrep has to offer. He participated in mock trial for 3 years of high school as a witness, making it to state and winning regional competitions the last 2 years. Although he does not have one particular favorite moment, he has enjoyed all 7 years and was happy to be back on campus for his senior year after COVID shut everything down. Our next graduate is Coleman Standifer. This graduate joined UPrep in 9th grade. He is engaged in the community in a number of different ways, including Investing Club, basketball, Jewish Culture Appreciation Club, cross country, and 4 years of running track. He loves interacting with the outdoors through hiking, skiing, and backpacking. Attending Colorado College in the fall with plans to run track and major in psychology under the pre-med track. Our next graduate is Asher Todd Teraday. Our next graduate has been a part of the UPrep community since the 6th grade. Her favorite memory includes participating in Global Link Colombia during her sophomore year. An astute scholar, she is also a member of the National French Honor Society. Attending the University of Washington in the fall, Samantha Torres. Our next graduate joined UPrep her freshman year. She played soccer for UPrep 3 of those years, has attained over 80 hours of community service, and also helped reboot Skate Club. She will never forget playing Spyfall in the math office with Mr. Stewart or the time in physics when her group dropped an egg on Moses' phone. Going to Gonzaga to pursue nursing next fall, our next graduate is Catherine Van.
She has been involved in the UPrep community through being a facilitator for lead, club, and student organization leader and varsity tennis player. She will be attending Tufts University next year to pursue community health and women and gender studies. She will miss being constantly reminded by Ms. Howe to go get a late slip from the main office. Our next graduate is Siona Watawan. Our next graduate suspects that her entire 7-year existence at UPrep may have been a fever dream. She staged a murder in her basement during quarantine for forensics class and grudgingly played on the middle school volleyball team for 3 years. She took a singing class because she needed to graduate. It was mostly online because of quarantine, so she spent 3 months pretending to sing over Zoom. Sorry, Mr. Block. Until recently, she still had her advisory's pet fish that she took home at the beginning of quarantine. Rest in peace, Ferb. In the fall, she will be attending the University of Vermont to study biology, where she will likely freeze to death within her first semester. Congratulations, Hannah Walsh. This graduate has traveled to 20 national parks and counting. He played ultimate frisbee for 2 years of high school and helped his team win a couple of games. He is most proud of his fine arts accomplishments, especially playing for the Seattle Youth Symphony, the All-State Orchestra, and the All-Northwest Orchestra. He has enjoyed composing classical music and hiking in the summers. Attending Pomona College, our next graduate is Getty Whiting. On brand with the rest of his high school experience, our next graduate procrastinated writing his short vignette to the point where he may have been the last to submit it. His favorite memories from high school have been spending time with his friends at the farm table in the Commons. A natural athlete, he was somehow captain of the varsity ultimate frisbee team while also averaging 11 points, 2 assists, and 1 dunk per game at his local LA Fitness Center. Spending the next 4 years in sunny Los Angeles at Occidental College, our next graduate is Emerson Weiss. She had an array of interests during her time at UPrep. She led the multiracial affinity group, enjoyed her biology, chemistry, and environmental ethics courses, as well as being part of the marimba band. For her service projects, she found much meaning working at Hope Place for the Union Gospel Mission, helping individuals through recovery. Next year, she will be joining Northeastern University and will spend her first semester in Spain. She is grateful that the last 7 years have brought her her best friends and a deeper understanding of the world around her. Our next graduate is Olivia Warzel. This graduate was a 4-year varsity basketball player and was captain for the last 2 years, recently earning conference MVP honors. He has also played varsity golf for Bellevue High School the last 2 years, and his team is going to states. During his time at UPrep, he was part of the National Honor Society and really enjoyed the math finance course, and he always looked forward to Fun Day in the spring. Attending Chapman University with plans to major in business and possibly play basketball, Henry Wright. He is a 4-year varsity member of cross country and track. He was also a captain of the cross country team his senior year and recently named UPrep's Scholar Athlete of the Year. One of his favorite memories was helping the cross country team qualify for state his sophomore year. He volunteers at North Helpline Food Bank and helped organize the school's Pie Bake this year. Attending Case Western Reserve University in the fall with plans to major in computer science and finance. Our final graduate is Andrew Yee.
Grace, you can explain this later to me, please, the tissue that I got. Anyways, our next speaker was chosen by his peers to sum up all the wonderful experiences that have encompassed your last 4 years. He has been a leader, a jokester, a friend, and an all-around community member. Sure, at times he has made some questionable decisions around milk-guzzling competitions, but I will forever be grateful to him for bequeathing me an imaginary magic trick deck to practice with. Your class speaker, Cade Everett.
Thank you, Ms. McGraw, for bringing up milk guzzling. That's much appreciated. All right, now before I begin, I was under the impression that I was speaking first, not after all of the great things that have already happened, so hopefully my speech can live up to some Ty Talbot prison stories. So, first of all, it is with the highest honor that I will be speaking here at the graduation of the class of 2022. I want to acknowledge all the magnificent people that made it tonight: parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends. And I want to thank the faculty, of course, for being here and putting up with our shenanigans throughout the years. Now, before I begin, I just want to make it clear that I wrote this speech this morning, so just keep that in mind. Walk up to any little kid. Well, maybe not anyone, but maybe a kid that you know, a little kid that you know. Maybe it's your niece or your nephew or your cousin. Maybe you babysit them. I don't know. That part doesn't matter. But ask them what they want to be, as in terms of a career, that is. They're going to tell you something amazing, like, I want to be a princess, or I want to be the president, or I want to be Chris Angel. That was my dream. But when I was younger, what I really wanted to be was a security guard at Top Pot Donut. I was so ambitious that I was making up careers that didn't even exist. I love donuts so much, I wanted to make sure they were safe. All right, now you ask that same question, what do you want to be, to someone our age? You ask an 18-year-old that question. Some of them will say something ambitious, but the majority of them are going to tell you the safe answer. The person that has been dreaming of becoming a composer their whole life is going to tell you that they are very interested in the vast world of commercial real estate. Because working in commercial real estate is a career path that person can imagine themselves enjoying. But in their heart of hearts, it's not truly what they want. And of course, in your heart of hearts, you may want to go into commercial real estate. Go be the best damn commercial real estate salesman this world has ever seen. I mean no disrespect to the CRS community. I'm sure you'll make some money. But don't lose your ambition. Don't stop doing the things you love. It's something that has already happened to most of us. Who used to draw as a kid? Raise your hand. Okay, lots of hands. All right. Now who draws now? Raise your hand. That's a lot less. A lot less. Now, when kids reach the age around 4 or 5, I learned this from a YouTube video, around 4 or 5, we start to compare our work to others around us. And that's why we stop drawing. We draw when we're young because it's fun. Drawing is amazing, right? It's the best. But at this young age, we begin to compare ourselves with others. Picasso once said, "Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist when we grow up." I'm a big Picasso guy. We think that everyone else's product is better than ours. Here's the kicker, though. This comparative mindset is created internally. There's no monster going around telling us that our 5-year-old art is bad. We're 5 years old. People don't do that. We just become more self-aware and start to doubt ourselves. We internalize the thought that we're not as good as our friends, and then we stop. The fun of drawing goes away. The older you get, the easier it is to compare. And now, especially after the college search and our competitive high school careers, we are trained to compare. That's what we've been doing all of our lives, after all. We do it in person, on social media, behind one another's backs. We think we're superior to some and lesser than others. Not only does it hinder how far we will go in life, but it determines our friendships as well. So instead of falling into this trap, keep doing what you have been doing. Surround yourself with incredible people, but don't see their accomplishments as your failures. Explore the world through the lens of what you love most. Do what you want to do. Keep drawing. Keep being yourselves. And this class, thank you, this class will continue to be painters, climbers, swimmers, composers, fencers, curlers, filmmakers, soccer players, actors, rowers, songwriters, basketball players, dancers, educators, givers, sculptors, ice skaters, creators, authors, engineers, craftsmen, clothing designers, and most importantly, Pumas. Keep being Pumas. I know you will all accomplish incredible things in the future. I love all of you, and I'll miss you dearly. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate, for those words of wisdom. I hope no one compares our speeches, as I'm confident yours will be far more memorable to your peers than mine ever could be. Parents, thank you. Parents and guardians, thank you so much. Thank you for your patience these past 2 years and for putting your trust in us as we continue to navigate the uncertainties of the pandemic. Thank you, trustees and founders, for continuing to keep UPrep a place that lives out its mission and for remaining committed to the promise that UPrep has to offer all of our students. Thank you, faculty and staff, for each day rising to the call to educate our students in things beyond the content of your course, and for staying committed to this vocation during troubling times. I also want to take this opportunity to give a special thanks to one particular faculty member. During his 29-year tenure at the school, he could be found playing Barracuda on music day, tutoring a student and perfecting a college essay, or passionately coaching on the soccer field. He knew his students' lives beyond the classroom, beyond the field, and worked tirelessly to hold himself and his students to high standards. His longtime coaching partner, Nate Whitney, said, "I think the greatest compliment I can give him is that I hope my son will one day suit up, play for, and learn from him." Susie Wu calls him a vision keeper for the school, and Ken Jaffe said, "Long story short, he made UPrep a better school." Will you please join me in giving a fond farewell tonight to Alec Duxbury? And now, seniors, thank you. Thank you for choosing this adventure with us and for sticking with it even though you weren't always sure where it would end up. Thank you for organizing yourself for change, for pushing us to be a better and stronger community. Thank you for your sense of idealism and relentless pursuit of making a difference, for rallying each other and never giving up or giving in. Rather than look back on these years with a focus on what we may have missed out on, I know you will instead think about what you have gained. In many ways, the thing you have gained the most from these years is practice. Practice with uncertainty, practice with humility, and practice with giving compassion. And all that practice has shaped you into the beautiful people you have become today. So I wish for you a life rich with adversity and opportunities for practice that will sculpt you and test you and push you. May it shape you into something purposeful and profound. Congratulations, class of 2022. You are now officially graduates of University Prep. You did it.